Hello?
Hey, it's Caleb again.
Hey, Caleb.
You're the one I just had to
Uh,
hang up and call back, right?
yeah,
Okay.
yep, yep.
Good.
Yeah, I don't know what I was gonna ask you last or in between that. Um, I was asking how you determine your assignment fee based on
Oh,
the deal the creative terms that you lock
yeah.
up.
Yeah. So if
Especially
it's
in this
if it's a really
situation
good
where it's
cash
more of a
flowing
cash
deal,
flow play.
yeah, if it's
Right.
a really good cash flowing deal, but the entry fee is going to be too high or it's a small ended deal, I will, I'll do whatever I can, place a lien on the back end that's not payable for 1, 2, 3 years, something like that, or that has a 50 or $100 a month payment until it's paid off and get my extra 5, 10, 15 grand.
Okay, so if it's a cash flow, like in this situation, you're buying it, you're in for it for five and needs rehab. Purchase price is 45, but your note's only 100 something a month, and you're making over a grand if you did it yourself. Because he's wondering too, because he wants upfront money, or he's considering just doing an assignment on it, even
Hmm.
though I just locked it up. I'm wondering, so you would have something where you put a lien on it, and then
Yeah, so I
I guess
again,
I'm
I,
just
I would
confused.
rather not JV. I would rather let somebody else have the deal and me take an assignment fee or vice versa. I
Right.
don't I don't want to get married to somebody in a business like that.
No, I totally get that, and that's what I'm saying on this one. If what would you pay on it then for an
Are
assignment?
are you
That's what
saying
I'm
you want
saying.
to
How
keep
do
it?
you?
How do I if I was
Yeah,
you, how
if
would I
that would
pay
be
your
the case,
partner?
right?
Some people add a zero to the end of the cash flow, and that's the assignment fee, which is a fair way to do it.
Okay,
It's pretty simple. So if you're going to cash flow $1,000 a month,
and I've heard that. Yep. Okay, so then it'd be 10K. Do you structure that
well,
always up
but
front, or do you ever
but
do
then
it?
remember you're 50-50 on the deal. So 10K is the assignment. He gets half of that. So he gets five.
Okay, but I'm saying if he wants to step out and I just take this down because he brought the lead, but I closed it. You're
Yeah.
paying him to get out of it completely and me own it.
Yeah. If you both sold it together, you'd get a $10,000 assignment fee. That's what I'm saying. And you would split that
Yeah.
50-50.
So then it'd be half of it. Right.
Yes. Yeah. So if it's a
Okay.
$10,000
Okay.
assignment fee and you're going to keep it, if you're going to cherry pick the deal, then you just pay him his half and let him go. And
Okay.
if you want to err on the side of caution and like, I'd rather do more deals with you in the future, and I don't want you to ever think I gypped you on this deal. Let's call the assignment fee 15,000, which seems a little bit unreasonable on the high side of what's reasonable, and I'll just give you 7,500.
Right.
I'll
Okay.
give you 5 grand at closing, and then let me pay you $100 a month on the rest of it for 2 years, or whatever.
Right. And do you do that often where you split it for say it's 7,500 where you actually do five and then, 100
No,
a month for
that's not
25?
really common. A lot of people like their cash, and
Right.
that's just the way it is.
Right. And
Now, if
that's
I'm
the whole
if I'm in a
purpose of why they
partnership,
want to do it.
I'm willing to take a larger portion of the assignment total on, and I'll finance that. I don't need cash up front. I mean, I would love to have cash up front, but if the total entry fee is going to be killed by how much cash both wholesalers want involved in a deal, I'll just put some on the back end, take a smaller amount up front and put some on the back end. Now, if my partner wants all their cash right now, I'll say instead of 50-50, let's go 60-40 or 65-35, and you can take your 35% now as cash, and then I will finance all the rest and take it either over time or in a lump sum 2 or 3 years down the road. And you can walk away happy, and I can just wait for my money, and there we go.
Okay. Are there any other factors like, with this deal and if you remember the numbers that you would lean towards just paying them 75 or 5 grand and then just taking it all yourself when it's, a grand cash flow?
Oh, I'm looking at the numbers you sent in Messenger. That's not a grand cash flow. You haven't factored in expenses yet.
No, absolutely. And I was just using that for,
Oh,
an
okay.
example. Yeah. I
Now
mean,
your
that's definitely not
your cash flow would be something like $650 maybe. So that's still pretty good.
yeah. Right. Okay.
But no,
And
I
when
mean,
you do that, you have to consider as far as like the JV and the cash flow, even private money on that to determine that assignment fee.
that's your so private money is is going to affect your actual cash flow, but you for considering the um the cash flow number that you had a zero to, I would take the monthly rate minus normal expenses, the net cash flow without any crazy additional debt.
Right.
So assuming you bring the rehab in cash, assuming you bring all the other stuff in cash, and you're not paying a second note in addition to the original, then take your normal expenses out, like 25% war chest to cover vacancy, repairs, blah 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 blah. So let's say you had, round numbers, let's call it $600 cash
Is that what
flow
you use?
after expenses.
Right.
That's the number
Okay.
you multiply by 10 and go for your,
Right.
so it'd be a $6,000
Right. So it's
assignment
not
fee.
a grand. Right. It's not adding a zero to that. It's actually a net and 25%, deducted from that to even
So
determine that assignment fee.
and that is how I would negotiate that and say, look, here's the actual cash flow after normal expenses. So
Right. Not the gross. Right. Which I think he was
right,
looking at.
yeah, and so then this is how it's normally done, and we add a zero to that. That would mean we should easily get a $6,000 assignment fee. Now, to be fair, I think the deal has a little bit more merit than that, and I would say we should go for a $10,000 assignment fee.
Okay.
That's what I would do for a partner.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, and in this one, I mean, probably, yeah, even versus doing that and looking for an assignment and splitting it ourselves, it probably makes more sense for me to hold that, but obviously that's a different business model, but
Yeah, dude,
I gotta take a look at that.
it would not take you very long to earn back your
Right.
cash on cash return on the assignment fee. Half of the assignment fee is what, like, no, your actual ROI is like less than 18 months.
Right.
And then you're cash positive on your foregone assignment
Yeah,
fee.
it's just management of property and not in your market or close to it is
Right.
more of the factor that I try not to.
Yep. Just, well, for your own sake, not for the fairness of the numbers there. Once you figure normal expenses, I would just add an extra 5% on management. Oh, actually, because the rent rate is, no, yeah. So I do 10% rent rate, 10% of the rent rate for property management. But in this case, for
Management,
long
right.
distance, just to have a little bit more cush, I'd put an extra 5% in reserves.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, even that with is part. So are you saying that with the war? No, that's addition to the war chest. So it'd be
Yeah,
more
I mean,
like
your
40
war chest would be
or 40%.
capex, opex, or so your
Right.
chest would be vacancy, repairs, maintenance, capex, and property management. And
Yep.
that, I'm normally around 25% for that number. Some people push pretty hard
So
for 30%, and it really depends on who your renters are. But so if I'm doing a pro forma with 25%, which is my normal, that's what I would base my assignment fee multiple on, right? The 600 plus a zero is 6,000. And then for my own personal sake, though, for it being far away, I would just add another 5% and go up to 30% just for my own numbers. But
okay.
that doesn't mean my partner has to take that penalty.
Right.
That's my risk.
Okay.
A local buyer would not necessarily have to do that. But to feel safe in the
Right.
deal, I would rather personally do that.
Okay. 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 And you'd still use a loan servicing company as well with any of these, even though it's not like sub two or because it's seller finance.
I can't say I would for sure.
Okay. Okay.
Not
Well,
unless you're
thank you.
wrapping it to an end buyer and you need to be able to show those payments.
Right. Right. Okay. Okay.
So that's
Sounds
it.
good. Thanks for your help.
Yep. There you go. Just got permission to post this on the YouTube channel. 0% interest on a $41,000 note. 30 years. You want to know what that monthly payment is? $115. That's a sweet deal. Congrats, man.